October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We lose far, far, far too many women. Women whose abusive partners kill them, kill their children, and kill others. Domestic violence is at the root of far too many mass shootings in this country. We need to make certain that abusers do not have access to firearms. They've exhibited violent behavior, they're at risk of future violence, and they do not have guns. They should not. Our next speaker is Kate Ranta. And it breaks my heart to think about what she and her son and her family went through. But I'll let Kate tell you her story. And I hope you'll remember this every single day and fight for better gun laws that will reduce the toll of violence towards women. Kate.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Kate Ranta, and I'm coming up on the 5th anniversary of the night that my ex-husband stalked me to my apartment, armed with a gun, a Beretta, 9mm, loaded with hollow point bullets, and shot directly through the door behind which my father and I were standing and pushing against it to keep him out. My son William, who's standing here next to me right now, he's 9 now, but at the time of the shooting he was only 4 years old. The bullets came flying through the door. He pushed his way in, and he continued to shoot. My right hand, it's my dominant hand, it exploded in front of my face. He walked over to my father, and he shot him point blank in his side. And I heard my father grunt, and I thought he died. I was crawling in my own blood. I was screaming and begging for my life. He wasn't saying things like, "How could you leave me? How could you break up our family? I love you so much." He was saying, "Why did you take my stuff?" Because I had left. My son witnessed the entire thing, and he was also jumping up and down and screaming and trying to get his father to stop. And then he said words that a 4-year-old, I don't even know how it entered his mind. He said, "Don't do it, Daddy, don't shoot Mommy." And the shooting did stop, and we were able to get out of the apartment, and we all lived by a miracle. I was shot twice. The second bullet went through my left breast. I didn't even know it at the time until I was on the ground and the first responders were around me yelling about a chest wound. And I literally could feel the cold, and I could feel myself dying. This is not something that anybody should have to feel. I mean, this child witnessed his father shooting his mother and his grandfather. This was a guy who I had left. I did what everybody always says domestic violence victims should do. Why doesn't she just leave? Well, I did. And I'm here to tell you that I was in actually more danger once I left. He was stalking, he was harassing, he was following that pattern of behavior that these domestic abusers all follow. He was an officer in the Air Force. He had many, many, many weapons in the home, multiple shotguns, multiple handguns. When he was served a temporary restraining order, the police said that they could go in once he was served and they could remove the firearms from the home, which they did. But then they proceeded to tell us that, guess what? They could take all the guns, but he could go out the next day and get another gun, which is exactly what he did. So I did everything right by the system that is supposed to be in place to protect us. I left, I got a restraining order, they took the weapons, and that animal was still able to go and get a Beretta and get hollow point bullets in order to do the most damage and come after us. In fact, that night, he had slashed my tires so I couldn't leave. And I'd called the cops. This was before the shooting started. And the police said there was nothing that they could do because the temporary restraining order had expired. And I said to her, he's literally going to have to kill me before you people do anything about him. 20 minutes later, he came in shooting. And that officer was standing over me saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You know, it's time that people listen to women and victims and stop victim blaming and saying, well, what did she do to make this happen? And, oh, he just must have snapped. This was a crime of passion. No, he premeditated it. He Googled husband shooting wife. How can I kill my wife? These men, they don't snap. It's all about power and control. They're losing control over their wife and their family, and they want to take it back. As far as the NRA, there's these gaping loopholes, especially around the temporary restraining orders, have got to be closed, because when women leave, that's when they're in the most danger. And this murder lobby works hard to make sure that women and children aren't safe from armed abusers. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. 57% of mass shootings in this country are domestic violence. Like Lori said, they're coming in, they're wiping out their entire families, and it's barely a blip on the media. And actually, in Las Vegas, the minute I heard about it, I said, I bet that guy's got a domestic violence record. And it took a little while for it to come out, but he had no record, but they had reports about him being at least verbally abusive to the woman that he was with. These guys follow a very predictable pattern, and it's all of these shootings are preventable, and we just have to keep fighting. We've got to disarm these abusers and stop the murder already. Enough, enough, enough. So my biggest message is that those of us that are in the gun violence prevention movement, we're all working really hard. I am a survivor, and I tell my story in order to, affect change. But we will not stop gun violence in America until we address domestic abusers. I really feel strongly that if we can disarm abusers, we really could see a big curb in gun violence and in deaths. So I hope my story sticks with you, and I hope you'll stand with us and just keep fighting, because all these deaths are just unnecessary. Thank you.